Let the humiliation ritual begin. You're live. You're horizontal. You're doing everything that they don't want you to do. But you are still out there. I mean, you're still keeping it real, still bringing the truth on our little ham radio CB radio station, on our little pirate radio free Midwood. Welcome back to the live stream, everybody. Thank you for joining us. If you, if you're just joining us for the first time, I basically just yap for 2 hours plus about kind of incoherent, pothead, paranoid world geopolitical situation, my own personal, you know, dilemmas, insecurities, dramas, ruminations. I heard that the one of the prime symptoms of depression and uh, people who are clinically depressed is a rumination, spending time alone, ruminating. I don't know. Ruminating's not all that bad. I saw today on TikTok. This is basically, once again, I'm just going to be pureeing my TikTok. This is just a TikTok recap at this point. I saw a TikTok about how high IQ people talk to themselves, supposedly. So, you know, all those people on the street are just high. They're high IQ, high fun. I mean, is this? I'm basically talking to myself here. What the hell? Why not? There's a lot to sort out. We've really got to get to the bottom of this. They want to kill us. It's election year. No one is happy about any of it. I mean, it's a worsening situation. This country. I mean, basically the consensus on TikTok is just move. That's generally, I mean, TikTok is kind of an anti-American propaganda factory machine. It's amazing. I mean, okay. But, the consensus in the comment section, I don't know if these are legitimate or not. I mean, there's a lot of videos about it. Just get the hell out of here. Save money, move to Costa Rica, move to, be a passport bro, right? This is the newest thing, is passport bros. Whatever the hell that is. Just another way to disparage men. Whatever. Haters, are an indication of success. It's funny how that works. It's just another one of the paradoxes of nature. The more haters you have, like, more money, more problems. You wouldn't necessarily expect that. It's the notorious B.I.G. Conundrum. More money, more problems. Yeah, so what do I want to talk about today? Jesus Christ, what have I learned from TikTok? Just have TikTok replace K through 12. Why not? I mean, the kids aren't reading, apparently. I don't know. There is a lot of sense. Now I feel bad that I talked about, because I do feel like the migrant crisis is like a manufactured, racist hype beast propaganda in the media from Fox News and things. So I feel bad that I took the bait. I feel like that's more YouTube showing me that, but I don't know. What are people in the right wing seeing on TikTok? Is there like Trump talk? Is there like some kind of like deep, where they have like America One news clips or fucking Steve Bannon? Do they allow that shit on there? I don't know. I mean, I just saw that there's another fucking effort to ban TikTok from this country, which feels very illegal in a free market, right? I mean, this is a marketplace of ideas. They've made a highly addictive product. It's stealing my life. I feel like it is like, it is like crack. I feel like, I wish I had. Now I don't want to sleep because I feel like I'm losing time when I could be watching TikTok. There's just too much to watch. And really, all they've done is taken a bunch of crap on YouTube that you would never watch and chop it up and just montage. It's kind of this amazing um, auto device where it's like an auto, it's generative montage. It's an autotage. It's an auto montage where it's just like you're channel surfing, but you're seeing just like the optimized kind of site. Supposedly they can see into your pupils. Supposedly this is how they read our minds, okay? There's a lot of conspiracy shit on TikTok. It's crazy. How validated that stuff is. You know, you think they would scrub it. I mean, uh there's all the clips of Alex Jones explaining the Star Wars trilogy. I don't know if you've seen those, but the Star Wars is apparently all about Vietnam. And America's the bad guy. America's the empire. So Luke Skywalker would be, you know, in the Viet Cong. According to George Lucas, go on fucking TikTok. Look up, there's all kinds of clips of George. I mean, he is a genius. George Lucas you know, it all comes from the imagination of Lucasfilm, Ltd. Anyway, what the hell was I talking about? It's an auto montage of just like, you know. So supposedly they can see, they're using our phones to look through our pupils into our brains. And the moon landing is fake because the shadows and blah blah blah. And what I think they're building a language model. I think that's why they allow everybody to live stream. They want to build a massive language model. What did I hear the other day? Something about, and this is why, I mean, just building, I feel like a library or an archive of anything at this point is going to have value in one sense or another because of the metadata. You know, we live in this data information warehouse, whatever, weaponized against us. Our personal information and our lives, literally the moments of our lives. Why the hell do they want all this stuff? Why do they want us filming concerts? Why do we do it? Why the fuck do we post everything? I don't know. There's a hunger for us as a product to supply free content and basically, you know, TikTok is very anti-Hollywood. There's tons of shit on TikTok. There's tons of pro Michael Jackson. Somehow I got on pro Michael Jackson. I'm on Corey Feldman talk, which I love. If you're listening, Chinese spy software. More Corey Feldman, more Wayne Newton. And so I'm on pro Michael Jackson talk. I've heard his real voice. And he's innocent, okay? Believe me. I don't know. He was never criminally prosecuted or something like that. It was always like they wanted money. You know, they never criminally prosecuted Michael Jackson. And so I do think that he was kind of targeted. I mean, anyway, let's not get into that. TikTok is just like, you know, it's conspiracy theories. We live in a conspiracy theory age because the objective, you know, the paper of record, right? Even the New York Times is just a fucking blog. At this point, essentially, it's a blog for people who have money and who are friends of the people who own it. You know, that's how it seems. You know, they're pro-Israel, blah blah blah. And so, if the New York Times is down the drain, it's the only thing left, really. You know, the New Yorker magazine, maybe. It's all filled with people who come from prestige, who come from privilege, who are highly educated, Ivy League douchebags. Why did they all, these people, okay, a lot of people who go to Harvard, most of the people that go to Harvard end up in finance. And they all become either consultants or analysts or something. What is this? How do I get a job as a consultant? I feel like a consultant. I'm consulting people all the time. This is consulting. I'm analyzing. I'm very much an analyst. There's no question that I'm an analyst. If I'm anything, I'm a fucking analyst. And so I want some of this Wall Street. Why do all these people go to Harvard? These are supposed to be the smartest people in the country. and they all go and become finance criminals and rip off what, 80%, 10% of the people own 90% of the stock or something. It's just like, it's rigged. It's all rigged. It's not about us. There is no trickling down. They steal all our money and they torch it and they gamble with it and they try to fucking Cialis it into fucking crypto bucks and shit. Oh my god, NFTs. It's all dissociated. It's all just dissociating money from value. It's just more advanced techniques to abstract wealth where there is none. It's hypnosis. It's all bullshit. It's all a con. It's whatever you can convince people of. None of it is real. None of the economic science is fucking real. I'm an economist, okay? I went to Columbia Business School, okay? I've studied, I've thought about these things at length, okay? I've debated with objectivists, Alan Greenspan, etc. I'm an economist, okay? And we create the value. We are the fucking value. We are the content. Look at this. I can't help it that I'm shadow banned. It's raining. Where is everybody? I thought this was going to be a good night to do this. But anyway, it's for the record, and people will watch later, I think. Or maybe Ashley will watch it 50 times. Shout out to Ashley. What the hell was I talking about? Oh, yeah, TikTok radicalizing. Well, so there's all these conspiracy theories. So it's like you don't know what other people are seeing. Other people might be seeing... there might be is there a super pro-Israel? Is there a Zionist talk? Or the claim from Hollywood is that TikTok is making people anti-Semitic. I would say that I see a good amount, but a good amount of, pro-Palestine. That's probably the majority of what I would see. I mean, I do think that they have like an agenda, but is it the Little Red Book? Are they putting Mao into into the tap water? I mean, I don't know how many people use this. I can imagine that anybody who gets on TikTok gets hooked on it. I don't know. It's just all wrestling clips for me. It's like YouTube. Anything where they need kind of poverty, I've got material. It's just they start with wrestling. Wrestling is the foundation of any kind of video empire or basis. It's your basis first. So build your content library, All right, what the fuck do we want to talk about, everybody? Thank you for watching. I don't know. I'm even nervous. I've got one person. That's nobody. I saw this guy on TikTok, okay? He was playing the new fucking... Usually when it goes to somebody live, they're doing absolutely nothing. They're like standing in their room. This guy was playing WWE 2K4. And he had 182 people watching him play this fucking video game. He wasn't even providing any kind of like hypothetical kind of thinking out loud about the government or the systems or the powers that be or our ways of life or how we interact. One trend that I find is settling. The last few places I've lived or people that I've been around, maybe it's just me, but people I've been around who have roommates, it's like roommates don't talk to each other or like want to see each other anymore, like at all. The last few places I lived with roommates, it degenerated quickly into the like it was like it's like in one of those space movies where you have like airlocks. It's like no two doors could be open at the same time. It's like I'm in my bedroom. If they go out in the kitchen, there's no way I'm going out there. I'm waiting until they are safely back and their door is sealed and the airlock is closed for me to open my airlock. Like I'm not going to go out. I don't want to run into them. It's just like people are so afraid of like, I don't know, small talk, chatting, running into their roommates. People are antisocial. I don't know what it is. But it's like they're scared to death to see each other in the common space. I don't know. What the hell is going on? It's the fabric of society. We're going deeper and deeper into the phone, into the metaverse comedy club. That's why I'm on here. I'm entertaining, food for thought. Maybe I'll read some of my poetry. Maybe I should read a poem to start things off and sort of. Okay, I do want to read this. Potentially Spam. February 28th. Potentially Spam. This is my tribute to Rick. Maybe I read this already. I don't know. While reading Deleuze and Guattari, Richard Lewis died. He never saw my career. Can you drain its maw into a ditch? Women know just what you're looking for. Nerve nets behind sinus cavities, an ice cream headache with no ice cream. Watch what I eat, anxiety dreams about choking to death on my own teeth, which are growing in like a rock at the back of my throat, bumping into the white socks and causing a confusion of sour electrodes in my vitreous humor. Comme ça. So yeah, Richard. Richard, this is our Richard tribute. I mean, we did our Richard tribute. I thought it was good, you know. I thought we had a good Richard tribute show. He's a fellow Buckeye. I talked about that, I guess, already. Oh God, I don't know. So yeah, I'm playing some of my old vlogs. Maybe I should repurpose scenes from a life from TikTok. I think I might post some of the videos. I don't know. I don't know how to get out of it. Now I feel like I need two lives. I need one life to just like consume TikTok, and one life to like live my life and do errands and like go out and have social relations and things. It's just like it's information overload. This is something Bifo talks about in On Poetry and Finance. It's just like and we all know this, but it's like there's so much information to consume. I mean, especially on TikTok, the thing is it just feels endless. It feels like you're constantly learning, you're constantly figuring more it's more pieces of the puzzle are falling into place about our society is designed this, it's car culture, it's suburban sub, I saw a TikTok the other day about Phoenix. Phoenix, Arizona is a relatively new city, and it's one of the fastest growing cities in the country. I think it's the fifth biggest city in the whole fucking country or something by metro area. Phoenix, Arizona, which is in the middle of a goddamn desert. And it's like people like to live there because it's sunshine and it's warm all the time. But it's like it's not really tenable, it's the result of a freak kind of abundance and technological ingenuity that we've lost. There's no sense of doing things, especially from the tech sector. I feel like doing things just for like the common good or to make things as functioning as possible. I remember a decade ago when my bosses, who were super pro Elon, pro Trump, they loved any kind of tech, anything. My one boss worked in fucking Silicon Valley at Singularity University, fucking Ray Kurzweil and shit. And it was like everything was going to be an app. They were so hyped about this. We're going to have self-driving cars. They talked about this was over 10 years ago they were talking about this. Like it was just we're going to have self-driving cars. And everything is going to there's no analog switches on anything. There's no tactile switches on anything anymore. It's all a fucking touch screen. And it's all like even when you go to fucking Qdoba and get a soft drink, it's like a fucking iPad. It's like a touch screen, and then all these options bubble out, and you want a Fanta or whatever the fuck it is. And I remember the days of the individual fucking, whatever those wanky little taps were that you'd push the thing, you'd kamikaze that shit. And now it's like, I can control my thermostat from my phone, or like I start my car from my phone. It's like, or my car's dashboard is like a fucking phone, or like it's a computer screen. It's like there's no dials, it's like this is all a bad idea. The Tesla thing, these cars that like we saw this with like the freezing temperatures, they all just died. Nobody could charge them. Like there's something to be said for kind of the tactile world. Everybody's sort of gone all in on just like, let's do everything through a fucking app. Let's have sex through an app. Let's do our dating life through an app. Etc., etc. Uh, I saw an app. I just saw an app. It was called. It was about you. If you're doing van life, it's a way that you can sublease in like Airbnb people's driveways. So if you're like a van life guy, you can Airbnb like a driveway. It's not a bad idea. How many people are doing van life? We've been forced into this nomadic Mad Max Thunderdome fucking, I mean, I was way ahead of this. I wanted to buy an RV in 2000 and, I was looking at RVs right before I moved to New York. The summer before I moved to New York, I looked at all these RVs because they were like $800. You could literally buy a fucking 30-foot long mobile home. We drove down. John Ryan, Jack, and I drove down to fucking, I think it was Circleville or something. Yes, they were all on the south side. It was all the south end. I looked at one of them like somewhere down like by, there's like a strip club down there in the bowling alley where we used to go in high school. Whatever fucking part of town that is. I don't even know what the hell it's called. It's in the south end. I looked at an RV there. And then I actually drove this guy's RV. We went down to Circleville, I think. And this guy, I think, wanted $900. Maybe it was like $3,000. I don't remember. There was definitely one I looked at that was $900. But, like, you could get an RV for like $3,000. Considering it's a fucking house. If you can find a place to park an RV, it's like you got a fucking apartment, basically. And my dream was I wanted to you could get these vegetable oil converters. So you could theoretically go to fast food restaurants that use vegetable oil in their fryers. You could get, supposedly they would like, if they were cool, they'd let you use it. I doubt it. I'm sure they charged you or something, but anyway, it was kind of recycling. And supposedly this would fuel your fucking RV. This like French fry oil. Apparently your RV would smell like French fries everywhere you went. You'd smell like, but there's worse things to smell like. I mean, French fries smell pretty fucking good if you ask me. It's like a food truck, even though, But, I'm not a mechanically inclined person. This guy's RV that I was driving, it had some kind of brake or transmission problem. So it was like, it kind of had this weird, like, suspension, like, halting. It was, like, kind of bouncing. And so it was like, what was I going to do? I was going to tow this RV. Where was I going to put it? So I moved to New York instead, But the RV, if I could get, the dream was always to get some kind of online, like all of us, get some kind of online audience where I could make enough of an income so I could travel and film it and put it on the internet. I wanted to do this, I was trying to do this 10 years ago, basically. That's what Scenes from a Life is kind of about. That's why there's all these episodes in LA and shit, because it's like, those are sort of travel logs, but it never caught on. If you look at my Scenes from a Life, they've got like 20 views or something, So I'm an unsuccessful travel vlogger. But to be honest, the vlogs that take off, the van life vlogs, they're all really corny. They feel like Coastal Grandmother, or like they feel like they feel like Thomas Kincaid meets like some kind of like fairy godmother Tinkerbell of the fucking wood sprites or something, like some kind of elfin e-girl in like the wilderness, like has some kind of like super like I'm not going to use the word twee. Super like Instagrammable. These people who are trying to, you cannot have the van life and be comfortable. You can't have it both ways. Like you're literally homeless. Don't try and act like it's like a fucking dollhouse or like don't try and act like it's the Brandy Melville Cafe, or a bed and breakfast. Like it's a fucking van. Like we know what happens in vans. We know who uses vans, who's notorious for vans. I mean, God bless. It's the best vehicle. Of all the cars, the van is the best car, I would say. An SUV is just like a macho dickhead van. It's like, let's take a van and take everything useful out of it and make it way worse for the environment and make it bigger. Give it a bigger fucking footprint and just fuck you. It's so macho and overcompensating. Toxic masculinity is SUV culture completely. It's all tiny dick compensation. America, fuck yeah, pickup trucks. It's like the same shit. But vans, and especially minivans. I mean, I grew up the 90s. Nobody talks about this. The government doesn't want you to know this. But the 90s were a golden era of minivans. Oh my God, the soccer moms. Does such a thing even exist? We were lucky there were so many soccer moms. Now there's not even any moms. No one can have children, okay? We live in a dystopia where we're still driving 30-year-old minivans. We're living in them, in fact. We're buying minivans from the 90s. We're fucking putting sinks in them and wood paneling like it's a fucking beach house. It's our cottage. It's cottage core. It's not cottage core. You're fucking homeless. Because we've been robbed by the 1% for the last 50 fucking years. And I would love to have a van life. Don't get me wrong. I do think human beings are meant to be nomadic, or at least, like, to some degree. Some of us should be allowed to live the van life. It really sucks for me that I've never fucking been financially supported by my audience enough to have a van life, okay? Because I would love to have a van life, okay? But I have no van life. I have no van. You know, New York is like a van. It's like van life, except your van doesn't go anywhere. You know, your apartment is about the size of a van. So New York is a lot like van life. You know, you're schlepping everywhere. You're constantly having to minimize your space and get rid of things, and you know, you're sharing a bathroom with a bunch of other people. You know, you're basically living outside. You know, you just crash. So New York is like an immobile van life, essentially. Essentially. I want to be, I should be fucking Zizek. People in this country should look, N+1 should be really championing my work. I picked up N+1 at 3 Lives Books, and they did a whole long fucking article about Don DeLillo. It's about goddamn time. I've been reading Don DeLillo for 20 fucking years, okay? Underworld. I read it, okay? I read the whole goddamn thing. I recommend it. It's one of my favorite books, Underworld. The fucking snob in N+1. Mao 2 certainly is not a masterpiece. It's like, fuck you. What the fuck do you know? I loved Mao 2. Get on Mao 2, okay? For real DeLillo heads. Mao 2 is fucking good. It's all good. Where's the new DeLillo? Is DeLillo out there? DeLillo should be live streaming. I would absolutely subscribe to DeLillo's Patreon, Substack. I don't know. Writers, I think they all want to be, like, serious essayists and, like, thought. Everybody on Twitter is, like, super up their own ass about their career in, like, magazines or writing columns, or they're on some super cool website, or they're doing some... I don't know. I'm just trying to tell the truth about how our society is fucking decaying in real time as I see it quickly. This seems important to talk about. BlackRock, Vanguard. They are stealing the American dream. They're stealing it. They don't want us to own anything. Did you know self-storage is the most profitable business you can start? A self-storage unit. You can't even buy them because they're all being bought by private equity because they're so profitable. Self-storage units. I just had my storage. God, it was a nightmare. I got that insurance thing, right? Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about this on the live stream. I never got to talk about this. Do I have the thing? This was kind of scary because I got this insurance settlement, right, from my storage unit, the most profitable business that exists, and they were way overcharging me. I was right across from this restroom. It flooded, And so I got my insurance settlement, and I originally got a certain amount of money. I took all these pictures, right, with my phone, and I sent it to them. And I sent them like in an itemized list, but in no way, shape, or form did I use any kind of brand names really at all. I just said like, maybe I said MacBook, but I said a laptop, a Dell maybe, or but I did not really use that many. But I said sent them pictures, right, that I'd taken of the damage and whatnot. And so when they did my settlement, they sent me an itemized list of how they added up to the amount of money that they gave me, and they knew the fucking what every single thing was. They went online. They figured out, like, even my fucking guitar. I don't even know what it is. I don't know what kind of guitar it is. Somehow, just through the pictures, through some kind of surveillance technology or something, they literally figured out what every single fucking thing is in the pictures were, and they sent me the itemized list with how much it cost on the internet, just like when they Googled it or whatever. My computers, all of the shit. My fucking Aeropostale bag. It was kind of nuts to see the meaning of the metadata. That's the kind of shit that they can pull out. And I don't know. These storage units are owned by these private equity. Laundromats. It's are apparently very profitable as well. Um, but single family homes, right, are being bought up by private equity, and they're being rented out. They're at ridiculous prices that no one can afford because they have a monopoly, basically. Like, what are we supposed to do? We need a fucking place to live. They set the prices. They own everything. There's no government intervention. There should be, but we don't want to have that conversation in this country. I don't know. There's just inflated everything because they said that it's worth more. They just raised the fucking price of everything without our choice. So I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what else to talk about. Really, it's like there's no. Okay. Our society will just like stultify because people will have to work so much. They'll be so tired. They can't spend time with each other. They can't afford to live. They can't afford to eat. It's depressing. It's dystopian. But we're online and we're watching, low grade videos about how we're all being fucked. I mean, to some degree, right? I do want to be educated, but like I was saying, this book, it's like there's an oversaturation. It's like even we're processing an unprecedented amount of information, and it takes time, right? That's one of the things that this book on poetry and finance kind of goes into is like, with capitalism, originally your labor value was kind of based on time because it took a certain amount of time to make things and to give things value. And I still think that's kind of true in a way. Like people respond to things that you spend time on, to things because it takes time to make things right, to make things good, to make things well. And if we don't have time to do that, then the quality goes down. And but in a sense, right, with capitalism, oh god, I know I'm gonna sound like an idiot if I try to talk about this. With capitalism, um, they just steal your time, or like they want to dissociate the value that you're creating from the time, right? And so they want to decrease your wages. Uh, they want to make things as fast as possible. Like with automation, what did I see? Fuck, there was some goddamn thing they were talking about that, like, if human beings did it, it would take, you know, uh, house painting. It was about house painting. It was like, if human beings go in and paint a room, ceiling, or whatever, it takes, however long, a day, 3 days, whatever it was. It said AI, automatons can go in and paint the same room in 30 minutes, right? So capitalism is extracting the same amount of value, but it's doing it with using way less time. And so we're at this moment, and we've been able to see this coming for a long time. I wrote about this in my fucking book, October. If you read my long poem, October, which I wrote in October of 2017, at the time I was reading Bernadette Mayer's Utopia, because I was in the Bernadette Mayer feminist reading group at the Poetry Project. And Utopia is sort of like Bernadette Mayer's just like sort of political, it's almost like a declaration, but it's a poem, but it's very interesting. And so October was sort of like my Utopia, or Alice Notley's book Disobedience also is like very political and like talking about modern society and blah blah blah. So it's like I was kind of trying to do, I was influenced by those things, but also just trying to talk about what I thought, where we were at in society. And so in this fucking poem, I talk about automation and this exact thing where it's like the jobs are going to be automated. The wealth is still going to be created, but the worker is going to be ostracized from that wealth. So what happens? People go hungry and rich people get richer. That's not the solution. The solution is, the wealth is still being created. To me, this is a good thing, right? This is a good thing that less people will have to do manual labor. And contrary to what they say, and I think this is the same issue, I don't think this is going to kill creativity. I don't think AI or even quantum computing is going to kill creativity. I think creativity is its own reward, it's its own gift, it's its own pleasure. People continue to be creative. Maybe the things that we watch and pay to watch, if they get good enough. I mean, what did they say? It's basically just plagiarism, right? That's all AI is. It's basically like synthesized fucking plagiarism. And so with Google Images, with YouTube, they want to build massive language models. They want to build things that they can plagiarize in the AI banks. So they could AI my fucking... Somebody had a good idea that we should just plug all the open mics into the AI and do like an AI open mic where we have the AI generate, that Monday or whatever. But I don't think that's, the point is we're at a moment where we have a choice. Is it like, okay, yeah, these jobs are going to go away and we're going to be fucked because there's going to be no way for us to make money and we're just going to starve? Or it's like, no, this is good. Less people will have to work. Less people will have to do stupid... I don't give a fuck, if like my fucking burrito is made by a robot. I don't give a fuck if it's delivered by a robot. Really? As long as people are taken care of. This is a good thing. We're caught in this economic cage, in this mindset that is a lie. And it causes everybody to think in these terms of, I got to sell a lot of whatever it is that I do. I have to have a big audience. I got to sell a lot of books. I got to have a big movie. I got to be on some big TV show. I got to sell a bunch of albums, sell a bunch of t-shirts, go viral. numbers, you know. Uh, it's all about growth, right? Our entire economic thing is that we have to grow every year. Why? Like, um, why can't we sustain what we have? Why can't we go for quality? Why can't we go for, uh, you know, these jobs, these menial tasks, they might get automated. That's a good thing. That means more people will have free time to live their lives. To and I'm right about everything. God damn it! This is me mansplaining you. The whole point of the show is I'm right. 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 No, I don't know. This is the conversation we're having, and what I hear is people dreading the AI. It's going to kill creativity. It's going to kill Hollywood. You know, the AI is going to make the movies. They're just going to steal. You know, they'll keep making Tom Hanks movies forever. You know, they'll AI another fucking Indiana Jones movie or something. It's like they want us to live in a world of previous intellectual properties and known qualities. They want us to speak using the things that they own. They want us to speak using fucking Spider-Man or Mario or these kind of corporate brands, Disney. They don't want us to know the names of the plants or the animals or the constellations or to gaze into each other's eyes and learn how to seduce each other and learn who we are. You know, spend time with ourselves, listening to ourselves, exploring how we're being fucked by the corporate lobbyists who own our politicians. We're on the Titanic and they're making a lot of money, you know? Disaster makes a lot of money. If people are fucking well, okay, the thing about wealth inequality is not everybody loses. You know, some people win. Some people are like loving this. You know, they're the ones that are pulling the strings. They're the ones that are pulling the wool over people's eyes with Fox News and telling us, oh, it's migrants getting credit cards. uh, that's why we got to get on here on our super liberal radio and set things straight for democratic socialists in America. You know, we're not looking necessarily for communism. It'd just be nice if, like, people had free time. You know, once again, your time, no matter what the money says, well, no matter what, your time is always valuable to you. You know, that's one reason why I've chosen to live my life the way that I have. Because for better or for worse, you know, even though I never had money really to do a lot of stuff, I've had my time. And that makes me a rich man. Okay? That makes me a very rich man. I mean, I retired when I was 27. I recommend it to everybody. And by I'm being facetious. By that I just mean I did everything I could to squirm out of financial responsibility, including, you know, being the cheapest man on earth, sort of notoriously like Scrooge almost, of a frugal bastard with no heart, never giving back. It's cost me a lot. It's not, you know, okay, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it's also about, you know, not getting caught up in the fucking tangle of all the bullshit and owning your own life and owning your time. How do you expect to read all these books? How do you expect to make poetry? You know, you got to do nothing all day. You got to lay around musing, smoking opium, having, you know, fantasies with PH fantasy and ruminating, meditating, wandering, meandering, exploring, talking to people. I don't know. I've worked my ass off avoiding, you know, and I've cut everything out of my life except for work, and yet I still feel like I'm at the very beginning and I have nothing to show for it. I feel like I haven't even started yet. I mean, if you look, there's plenty of people you can look at, and they're already way further ahead than me. And they're 15, 16, 17 years younger than me. And I'm on fucking YouTube, and probably Ashley is watching, and that's it. And so what is the point of this? I love it. I love talking. And this is what I would do if they paid me anyway. And so I get to keep my life. I get to say whatever the fuck I want to say. I get to read what I want to read. I get to write exactly what I want to write. I get to publish what I want to publish. It's creative control, okay? It's all about creative control, is what it boils down to, okay? If there's one thing I've learned in Hollywood, after all these years of being fucked over by scumbag producers, people who think they're hot shit, people who want something, opportunists, ass kissers, people who think they're too good for you, people who don't have the time of day for you, people who people want to destroy you, people want to see the worst for you. If there's one thing I've learned, I forgot what it was. What did I just say? um, Time is money. Time you don't get back. Your reputation is your bank account. Well, it's about creative control. I don't know. Shit. I wish I was a better artist, and so people would just put me on the fucking map. So I didn't have to be such a DIY fucking clown, scraping by validation wise, emotionally, financially, living as far off the grid as I can possibly get while still being on the grid. And by grid I mean the IG grid, of course, where all social interaction really takes. I mean, Zuckerberg could be a plant. Joe Rogan's a plant. I mean, Zuckerberg could be CIA, right? He's a fucking Harvard dropout. He's into fake martial art, whatever. Facebook, they might as well just make Facebook the CIA. The government might as well just nationalize and eminent domain Facebook and make Zuckerberg like J. Edgar Hoover or something. In US 2.0 or 3.0, we got to reboot this motherfucker. You know, we're rebooting everything else. It's an intellectual, it's just like everything else in this shit country. It's an intellectual property that already exists. Let's just take it and repackage it a little bit and re-spew it out, and it'll be like nothing even happened. It'll be like, oh yeah, it's still that same great taste, same United States, new United States, same great taste. I don't know. Is this poetic? I don't know if I was ever poetic. Was I ever a poetic person? I feel poetic, but I don't feel. I don't know. I can't really hit the bottom like all these other people that get published. I can't really rip it together. That's why I have my fake. Okay, so this is something I did want to talk about. Maybe this is going way off topic, but what the hell? My avant-garde technique. Well, I was having a great conversation about poetry with Galvin on Monday, actually. We were having a very interesting discussion. They were telling me about, well, I don't know how it came up. You know, it's like, it's weird because sometimes you have conversations with people, and it's like it's almost like they're psychic. Or like they've been thinking about, I mean, I'm sure with poets that's probably especially true. It's like everybody's probably closer than we think and more interlocked kind of in brain activity than we think, and there's kind of a telepathic kind of connection happening. But they were just saying that like there was a movement of poets that they sort of didn't want to make sense because they wanted to be anti-commercial, right? They didn't want to make products. And as Galvin is explaining this, I'm like, yeah, that sounds like me. That sounds like what I want to do. That's, but the conversation was more about how the past few years, that's not really what poetry's been about. And this is something I've definitely noticed, and something I've griped about on here before is like, most of the poetry that I've seen since 2018, it goes one of two ways. It's either like net kid poetry and it's super hip and it's got all these pop culture references and it's got Frank O'Hara written all over it, or it's like prose. It's like very sincere prose that's like moral and ethical and racial or whatever, identity, whatever you want to, file that. It's like it's about the content actually. And it's about kind of this kind of smooth. And so reading this, Bifo book, that's kind of what he prescribes really. He says, the finance criminals basically are copying Rimbaud. They're copying the language poets. They're copying these poets, Bruce Andrews, Charles Bernstein. You're implicated, okay, Ron Silliman. You did this. You did this. You're responsible for the collapse, Ron Silliman. These language poets, or people who divorce the language from the semiotic meaning. They love using certain words, semiotic, um, and so what Bifo kind of prescribes, that's what finance does. It divorces money from its literal value. The money itself, where it came from, it's all meaningless. It's just, uh, it's for rich people to just plug into their bank accounts, play with. They can exaggerate it with speculation, with crypto, whatever the fuck it is, NFTs, whatever they can believe is worth, money. They can, well, part of the reason I think why we have this housing crisis is because there was all this liquidity because of the P2P or whatever the fuck it was called, and the stimulus money. That money, that liquidity went out into the people, and the capital allocated into the finance criminals, into the wealthiest people. We just went out and bought goods and services. That's all we did with it. Poor people, we went out and bought Trader Joe's, or maybe we bought a car, maybe we traveled. All that money went back to the goddamn rich people pretty quickly, but they have to do something with it. Suddenly they have all this liquidity. So what do? They buy fucking houses. They buy, that money's got to go into assets. So suddenly, you know, um, and so, that I do feel like that was the avant-garde thing to do, was not to be some kind of bad boy white guy pissing all over the rules, dissociating, dis being incoherent, systematic derangement of the senses. This is basically what I feel like I've done over the last 15 years. Is I've spent the last 15 years systematically deranging my. I know that sounds corny as fuck, but I mean by sitting down and writing. That's what I'm trying to do through my writing process, is sort of come up with things that manually kind of, I don't know, undo, um, figurative meanings, or syntactical meanings, or, connective relationships that have, because I do think that, you know, Mr. White Man, I've been so programmed, God knows what they taught us, right? Or particularly the systems of language that the MLA, or the, to me, the prose sounds very white. I don't know. It sounds like comfort. It sounds like you have, money to sit down, think about things, make them right. I don't know. That's all money. That's all comfort. That's all, that all takes time, right? Like Karl Marx said. And so for me, it's about writing fast. It's about writing cheap. It's about writing on the fly. It's about not sitting down and being bourgeois about my desk and my peace and quiet and my concentration and blah, blah, blah. It is ADHD. We live in an ADHD. There's a violence to the ADHD and the dissociation of that, and the constant entertainment and interruption and non sequitur and rapid. Maybe that's all outdated now. When the Trump thing happened, poetry really smoothed out. Poetry became like pancakes. It became like Bisquick. It did become like smooth, became finished and good. It was like people really wanted to listen, and it told you something. I do think it is harder to meet, like it's like Frank O'Hara says, it means something and you can't beat that. It's harder to mean something. It's harder to move people. Like my whole technique sort of is a juvenile avoidance tactic of sincerity. Like I in a certain way I do feel like I probably my poetry, I used to go to poetry for like a sensitivity and like a sense of like solemn aloneness and sacred, sacred awareness, just like basking in the fragility of it all and feeling that. And once I got on stage in New York and wanted to be kind of having a career in my imagination about whatever the fuck that means, cosplaying that life role dream, I think I amped it up into this kind of, borscht belt kind of thing, and nervousness, anxiety really comes across in a lot of my readings in a way that's kind of self sabotaging. I self sabotage. It's my, I and I don't. I think I was raised to not want success. I think I was raised to like distrust any kind of like ego position, any kind of like because there is kind of like a dumbing down of things, or like a, I don't know, a simplifying of things in order to connect with more people a lot of the time. I don't know, who the fuck knows. I thank you guys for watching, but I haven't. So anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, yeah. So poetry has become less fragmented. It's become less, fast, kind of choppy editing. It's become way more kind of like coherent, durational. It means something. It's emotional. It's vulnerable. It's and so I don't know. It was an interesting conversation. I don't even know if I can write that way, to be honest. I have, like I was saying, when I sit down to write, it is like this manual kind of untangling of connections and whatever you think, cliches. You want to get to like the truth of what you're actually seeing. You want to express that. You want to articulate that. You don't just want to fall back on, a stock phrase, a sensation that somebody else sort of, you're copying somebody else, like that's why I write about my own experience probably so much, because I do want to just like investigate what actually happened and describe that. That is the truth to me, right? Um, God, is this an interesting background for people at all, or is this just like the worst thing to look at? I'm hoping like we've got this kind of early spring happening, which is really nice. I want to get back out live streaming on the streets as soon as possible, because I like that kind of visually dynamic presentation. But for this, it's a little easier to kind of concentrate on whatever the hell I'm talking about. Yeah, so it was like, I like being around poets and hashing it out about poetics and techniques and things. And I mean, I think especially that a certain kind of writing can have impact when you're reading it to an audience at an open mic or whatever, and to some degree, I do feel like the fly in the ointment, or what the fuck was I reading or thinking about, where it's like, when I go up to read, that's not necessarily my intention. I would feel egotistical a lot of the time. If I went up to just make it about, oh, I'm just gonna kill and just like, and have it make it about what a great poet I am and what a great poem and Jesus Christ, this guy's incredible. And I mean, the Trump thing just threw fuel on the fire of all of that stuff. And I don't think there is a such thing as Trump derangement syndrome. We're just sane. The world has gone insane. We've had to calibrate and adjust accordingly, but we do live in an insane right-wing country that seems to want this guy to take over the government because they're brainwashed by Fox News, fluoride in the water, metal in the food. Our food is poison. You can't even go into a gas station and get anything that's not completely carcinogenic. All the sponsors of WWE, Slim Jim, Monster Energy Drink, it'll all kill you. Uh, quickly. Okay, so what else do I need to talk about? Jesus Christ. Yeah, so I'm trying to reach like a new sincerity in my poetics. And I think, I don't know. I've been having this back and forth with this guy. I hope I get to do this. Well, should I talk about it? I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't mention that. What the fuck else should I talk about? I mean, what's the next frontier? I mean, I do feel like I need like a bigger project. You know, like I've been making these books for a while. My diary poetics are like sort of their own project in the vlogs and things, but like I don't know how to get on the map, you know, artistically. It's like what really is the goal? How do I, you know, I need to write like one novel or make one movie or one, you know, there's got to be one thing that just like is big enough, but I don't know. uh you want to become like a star off of, you know, pontificating about how to fix the world, which is like, you know, dying or decaying so quickly in front of us. Um, oh, Jesus. What else do I need to talk about? And so it feels like, well, what's the point of becoming a success, you know, in a world? To